Welcome everyone to this brand new paramotor channel of mine here, and this is $400 to $500 of damage. And while these propellers look pretty cool at the first look, if you take a closer look, you're gonna see some serious damage here at the carbon fiber. And how exactly this happened, what I did wrong in detail, we're gonna analyze and see here in this video during my paramotor training. So enjoy! What's up, friends of the good mood? This is Manni, and welcome to my first paramotor crash video on this new channel, where I show you how I broke $450 in less than 10 seconds. What an absolutely unnecessary and unfortunate accident that was. How exactly it looks like, we're gonna see it from an outside perspective, and also I'm gonna analyze with you guys what I did wrong. At this point, you see my motor was still okay, right? Well, it wasn't going to be for a very long time. Let's first take off together, and after the takeoff, I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, alright, I'm already having the wing in my back. We're gonna start right here, and while you have seen some of this start already in a previous video, you haven't seen the second perspective that you see in the upper left corner right now, where you see the same start from two perspectives. I like this a lot. This is a really cool camera perspective. And by the way, I'm working on ways to increase the camera angles, maybe with a flying drone or maybe with a follower drone, but there's some stuff coming up for this channel where I'm trying to increase the amount of quality that we have on this channel here drastically. And yeah, so stay tuned for that and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. So, now that we're in the air, ladies and gentlemen, we may as well just have a look at what really happened, okay? We're in the situation now. This is the moment where I broke my propellers, okay? And you've seen they are not that much broken, but they're broken enough to no longer be used. And by the way, look at the deer in the back. What the heck? I didn't notice that at first. There's actually some deer standing on the airfield. So, I'm checking. My flight instructor tells me, okay, I'm not gonna interfere. You do all you want on your own. I'm only gonna interfere if something really bad happens. And then I realized I forgot to yell, you know, paramotor start here, or pilot is starting. So that's what I did now, and everything looks perfect. I have the wing under control. I'm looking, I'm checking. It's all there. It's all doing well. Nothing is, you know, no problem. I'm starting to accelerate a little bit with the engine, and and then this happens. $450 gone. Now, what did I do wrong? Let's go and have a look in slow-mo with a replay cam, okay? First off, one thing that you don't know right here, the grass was very wet, okay? It was a morning, the grass was still wet, and that was, I think, one thing. It wasn't necessarily a mistake of mine, but at least I should have known it and maybe made sure to walk a little bit more stable. So the grass was wet. But the next thing is I wasn't fast enough. Okay, I was already, at this point, I wasn't fast enough, and then it seemed like I slipped, what's the word? I tripped. At this exact point, it looked like the paramotor hit me in my lower legs a little bit while walking, and I tripped a little bit, and then, oh man, and then I sat down too fast. And that is the biggest mistake that I've did right here, guys. If we have a look, we're gonna have it even slower in a few seconds. I was sitting too soon. I went myself in sitting position. The wing over me was not yet carrying my weight or the weight of the motor. It would just start to carry. It would just start to you know, be at the right point, but it wasn't well enough. It wasn't fast enough, and we weren't at the point where I was already in the position to sit. Okay, so I wasn't fast enough. That's one thing. The grass was wet, and I seemed to have slipped. At this point, I was trying to, you know, hold myself. I was trying to catch my weight, but I just slipped on the grass, and wow, I sat on the ground, and that's the real big thing here. But the biggest problem is I wasn't ready to sit yet. At this point, I tried to sit in, I had the controls, I gave thrust, and I expected myself to just woo! Okay? That's what I expected to happen. But there was no woo! Because I wasn't sitting yet, and the wing was not yet carrying my weight, and I should have been faster, and I should have kept walking. Always keep walking, never sit down in the beginning. You're never gonna sit down unless you have a very stable flight upwards. And that is the biggest mistake I've done, and it's also the same mistake that my flight instructor told me continuously that I was doing. I was always sitting too early, and this was the first time it literally bit me in the R's right there, or in the propellers at this point, and it made a really nice. And this sound effect, let's just go back for a second. This sound effect was so loud that you could literally hear that for a very, very long distance, and it would just you know, echo back from all the surroundings. Just go back here. Hold on. Look at this sound. Ah, that is brutal, man. And yeah, that's how I lost $450 in 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm doing with you now, we're gonna do the full aerodrome circle, right? In German, we say die Platzrunde, which is what you do if you just practice starting and landing. You start, you fly 90 degrees to the left in this case, you fly another 90 degrees back in Gegenanflug, and then Queranflug, where another 90 degrees, and then Endanflug, another 90 degrees, and you land. So I'm gonna show you my landing too in a few seconds, guys, and the landing was a really, really nice one, and thankfully during this flight nothing happened, but apparently the start that I just shown you, that was the big problem and the big mistake that happened. So it's a bit difficult when the grass is wet because you don't have as much grip with your feet, and if you need to catch yourselves like I did, then it could happen that you just slip right through the grass and you don't get to catch yourself and your weight anymore. So that was a big problem, but the biggest problem, and I could have just started normally, but I should have not sitting in so quickly. Maybe, I don't know, something hit me in the back, but we also changed the straps on my harness then a little bit later, and the whole paramotor became a little bit higher, right? You saw in this video footage that the motor was really far down on my body, and it dragged me a little bit to the back, like into a backwards position, and it may actually have hit my legs a little bit. I'm not 100% sure, but this is also what could have caused this little slip to happen, or this tripping of mine. And we now changed the straps on the motor, and the whole thing is a few more centimeters higher, and it sits much better on my body. I can just really, it's really tight now, and every start I made after this worked perfectly fine. So maybe we fixed this also by adjusting how the motor sits, and it was just sitting too low at this point. This could also be a mistake, which you basically find out in the pre-flight phase, right? In your checkup, where you check, is the engine okay? Are the straps good? Is it sitting right? Is everything closed? Like all the what's it called? This feed seat belts, if you will, are they all closed in this? And in this same situation, you normally also check if you're carrying it, if it's all sitting well. And I think that was one of the mistakes that I also did, that I didn't really pay too much attention on how this thing must sit on me and how tight it must be. And now it's better, it's much more higher up, and I think that also helps a lot, not getting into this lean back position while running already, and then maybe even having this thing slip or hit your legs a little bit. But yeah, so the aerodrome circle is almost complete. You see right here, we're now at the point where I'm supposed to kill my motor, right? My flight instructor told me, hey, this is the point where this is the Peilpunkt, what's that in Germany? The landing point, I don't know. The point where you intend to exactly land, and it's here to the left somewhere. And now that I'm passing it, I'm supposed to kill my motor and just, you know, do the landing without. And you hear in the back, I did kill the motor. No, I didn't kill it, but I just go into, I'm no longer giving thrust. But then I realized, wait a minute, the wind is too strong, and there is some energy, some power lines down below. And I was feeling really uncomfortable at this point because, you know, I don't want to risk having a bit of a problem with maybe the wing. Like, something could always happen with your wing. And you need to have a certain safety limit of height in which you can react to things before something happens, right? And if something were to happen at this point, even my safety chute couldn't help me because I would simply just land down in the energy lines and the power lines down there. So I decided to leave the motor running and just, you know, keep the thrust and just make it the safe way, and it was good that way. Of course, my flight instructor told me later what I did wrong and that I just didn't have enough height. I should have been much higher at the point where I was next to the landing position so that I have much more time to adjust and to, you know, do the right things, to get to the right position, even without motor. I was too low, and this is why I needed the motor, but it was at least the right decision to keep the motor running at this point. And here we're coming in for the landing, and the motor is now killed. You hear? No more motor. I'm killing the music. Actually? No, it's gone. The motor is killed, yeah. And now I'm landing super slowly right here, and woo! And it looks like you're still having a bit of speed, but it's actually like maybe 10 kph. And here we go, man. This is my my flight with the with my still working paramotor, and also showing you how I crashed this whole damn thing. Oh man. Imagine how expensive this is. You can literally kill your whole paramotor. I'm glad that the motor and the frame, they didn't get any damage. Even though it looks like at this point, if we take a look at here, it looks like the frame is absorbing quite some damage. Look at this. Look how it's bent. But the frame is meant to take that, right? It can take these things. It's carbon. It's able to you know, do a little bit of bending before it breaks. And that's what happened here. The motor itself and the frame, they're all good. Also the fuel tank, no trouble there, no damage there whatsoever. Merely the propellers have died right there. And I guess you could probably, in theory, maybe still fly with them, but I wouldn't want to risk it, and you know, these things would just take apart and fall apart more and more as you use them, so they're really unusable, and I needed new ones. So yeah, while we're watching this one more last start here that was successful, I felt like this needed to become a video where I analyze my whole mistakes, and maybe to summarize them real quick again for you guys. The motor, first off, and that's the pre-flight problem, the motor was not sitting at the right position. It wasn't high enough. It was like dangling down a little bit and dragging me into a backwards lean position while walking. That's the first pre-flight problem that I should have fixed. And the second problem is I wasn't fast enough. I should have run faster before I've really considered the start to really begin. And then thirdly and lastly, and that's probably the biggest problem, I sat too soon. I should have stood in walking and you know, running position for a much longer time. Even after the start, it's good if you just still stand and not sit in the harness, but actually still in a standing position. What if your wing has, like, I don't know, a little dip and you go a little bit down? You need to catch yourself. You need to be able to catch yourself and not have this problem happening. And sitting too soon can cost you $450. So yeah, that was that was the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, as brutal as a man can hit for more. Thanks for being with me. You guys are awesome as always. Manni signing off. Bye-bye.